You are here to remember who you are without noise. I always felt weird. The first night, they kept checking their phone, even though it showed no service.
Painting your scalp.
The second day, they just sat, watched waves, listened to birds, didn't speak. And by the third day, something began to shift. Alright, good morning, everyone. I know it's early in the week. I also know that your brains are probably still half asleep or spinning around with everything that you all.
Your hair is really, really pretty, and I am so bored. Is it okay if I play with it? Are you sure? I'm just warning you now, okay? I get so bored in class that I'm just gonna start doing random stuff to your hair. Okay? Are you okay with that? Are you sure? Because I'm just warning
you've got going on in your life right now, okay? Whether it's a lot of school, family problems, drama, whatever it may be, I want you to slow things way down today, okay? We're going to take a break from the usual structure. No quizzes, no group projects, just a story, okay? Yes, you heard me right. Not just any story alone. This one is kind of like a guided daydream. Yes, a guided daydream. A story that asks you to feel, not just listen. Okay? It's about a person your age who takes a journey away from all the noise, all the pressure, and finds something that they didn't even know they were missing. As I tell it, I'll be stopping along the way to ask you questions, okay? Not to test you, but to invite you to think about your own life, your own pace, and your own island, so to speak, okay? You don't need to write anything unless I say so. All I'm asking is that you guys just be here with me, okay? Let your imagination do the work, okay? Again, I just want you to be here. If you feel like taking notes, go ahead and take your notes. If you feel like relaxing, go ahead and relax, but please do not fall asleep, okay? I don't want you guys falling asleep. I just want your imagination to do the work though, with the story, okay? Does anyone have any questions before we begin? Any questions? Maria? You need to go use the restroom? Okay, well come on up. I'm going to write you this pass. And then you can go use the restroom. Okay, anyone else need to go use the restroom before we begin? Anyone at all? Justin, do you need to go use the restroom? Are you sure? Because I don't want any interruptions, okay? Once we start, that's it. Okay? No interruptions. Alright, everyone in your seats, we will now begin the island of Stillwater. Okay? I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine waking up one morning, not to an alarm, not to traffic or notifications, but to the sound of waves gently brushing the shore. You open your eyes, and you're in a small wooden cabin. It smells like salt, sun-dried wood, and a little like lemon. Let's pause and let it sink in. You know, this story isn't from books. It's from a time that might happen to you if you ever need to slow down and really listen. Part 1. The Departure. Ira was 17, tired, burned out, not the kind of sleep you could fix, but the kind where your brain is loud all the time. Ira lived in a city that never stopped. Cars honking, parents yelling, grades, expectations, growing, comparing, pretending. One day, after a particularly hard week, Ira's grandmother handed them a small envelope. No return address, just one sentence inside. Come to Stillwater. Stay until you can hear your own thoughts again. There was a ticket, a boat ticket, one way. Ira didn't tell anyone, just packed a bag. 3 books, a notebook, and that smooth stone Grandma used to hold when she meditated. pause here and ask you something. Have any of you, okay, anyone in this class, have you ever wanted to just disappear for a while? Not forever, just enough to breathe. Anyone? Now you don't have to answer aloud, just think about it for a second, okay? I'll ask it again. Have you ever wanted to just disappear for a while? Not forever, just enough to breathe. Now I actually want you guys to journal that, the answer to that. So go ahead and write that down in your notebooks, okay? If you need time to think about it, then think about it for a second, and then just jot down any thoughts that you may have. We'll go ahead and pause a second here so that you guys can write down any thoughts that you have. Alright, so if you guys are ready, we will move on now to part 2, the arrival. The boat ride took half a day. The island was real. Stillwater, a hidden place off the coast, surrounded by calm sea and forested cliffs. There was no phone signal, no Wi-Fi, just nature, and a journal in the cabin that said, "You are here to remember who you are without noise." Ira felt weird. The first night, they kept checking their phones, even though it showed no service. Old habit. The second day, they just sat, watched waves, listened to birds, didn't speak. And by the third day, something began to shift. What do you guys think began to shift? Any guess? Anyone want to raise their hand and take a guess? No one? No one wants to take any guess yet? Alright, so we'll go ahead and move on to part 3, the lessons of Stillwater. Ira began exploring. Each corner of the island seemed to whisper something, not in words, but in feelings. There were tide pools by the cliffs, filled with tiny creatures, crabs, starfish, little darting fish. Ira knelt for hours just watching them, and suddenly it occurred to her. These creatures lived in constant change. The tide came in, the tide went out, homes washed away, food came and went. And yet, they just lived. They adapted, not complaining. Alright, so let's take a break here. We see that she's noticing things in nature, right? What is Ira noticing? Yes, she's noticing that even though things are happening around these tiny creatures, life continues, right? There's always going to be constant change, right? She's saying time comes in, it goes out, homes wash away, food comes and it goes, and yet these creatures just go on. They keep living and they don't question, right? They adapt. They don't complain. So with that being said, here is your next journal prompt. Now, you don't have to participate in this journal prompt. This is for those of you who want to reflect. Okay? Those of you who want to get your feelings down on paper. So, you guys ready for the question? What's a tide in your life that keeps changing? How do you react to it? Fight it, ignore it, or flow with it? Go ahead and write that down. What's a tide in your life that keeps changing, and how do you react to it? Fight it, ignore it, or flow with it? journal. So we're going to continue. This next part is called the Grove of Whispers. Deep in the forest was a circle of trees, tall, silent, ancient. Ira sat among them. They wrote in their book, the trees don't rush, they don't compete, they just grow, quietly, strongly. It hit them. Back home, everything was a race. Grades, social media, popularity, opinions, always something to prove. But these trees had stood for decades, maybe centuries, never tweeting about their branches, never comparing leaves. They just were. So that brings me to my next journal prompt. If you weren't rushing to be something right now, what would you focus on? What part of you is growing quietly, but hasn't had space to breathe yet? Okay, I want you guys to really think about that one, okay? Jessica? Oh, you need me to repeat it? Of course, of course. I'm always going to repeat these journal prompts, okay? So, again, if you weren't rushing to be something right now, what would you focus on? What part of you is growing quietly, but hasn't had space to breathe yet? Okay, I need you guys to think about that for a second, and then write it down in your journals, okay? Everyone ready? I want to make sure that everyone has an adequate amount of time to write down all of their thoughts, okay? So if you need time to keep writing, please raise your hand. Anyone else need extra time? No? Okay, let's continue. There were a few other people staying at Stillwater. Travelers, thinkers, quiet people with calm eyes. Every few nights they gathered around a fire pit near the edge of the island where you could hear the waves and see 1,000 stars. People didn't talk about achievements or gossip. They talked about truth. One night, a man with silver hair said, "When I was young, I thought success would silence the noise in my head, but sometimes it just made it louder." Another woman, an artist from a mountain village, said, "I come here every year, not to escape, but to return. This island helps me remember I'm more than my schedule." That night, Ira said something out loud that she had never said before. "I don't know what I want to do with my life anymore." There was silence. Not awkward silence, but the kind that holds space. Then a quiet voice replied, "That's a good thing. It means you're still open. The most lost people I've met are the ones convinced they already know." For the first time in a long time, Ira didn't feel broken, just unfolding. And we come to our next journal prompt. Well, first of all, I want to ask if anyone has any thoughts or anything that they want to share thus far in our story. Crystal? Mm-hmm. That's a really, really good point, Crystal. you to write that down in your journal as well. Yes. Anyone else want to share? Alright, so then we will move on to our journal prompt question, which is, when was the last time you really admitted, I don't know? How would it feel to stop pretending you had all the answers? Okay, so I'm going to repeat that question. Think about it, and then begin to write down your response. When was the last time you really admitted, I don't know? How would it feel to stop pretending you had all the answers? So we're going to take a couple minutes to journal, okay? Alright, so the next part is called the return. Time passed, weeks, maybe longer, but time felt different on Stillwater. There were no mirrors in the cabin, no clock, no notifications. I would realize something one morning. They felt okay being alone with themselves. Not bored, not restless, not comparing, just okay. They sat by the shore with the smooth stones from their grandmother. Sunlight danced across the water. Ira picked up a pen and wrote, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be free. Or, I read that wrong. She wrote, I don't want to be famous. I want to be free. I don't want to always be busy. I want to feel alive. In that moment, she knew that it was time. So she packed her bag, left a note in the cabin's journal, and said, thank you for helping me remember who I am. The boat ride back was quiet. Same ocean, same sky. But Ira was different. Back home, the noise returned. Phones buzzed. Deadlines stacked. Questions came. Where were you? Why didn't you text back? Are you okay? Ira just smiled and said, yeah, I am now. So, that was our story about Stillwater. So what we're going to do next is we are going to have a closing reflection, okay? And I want to know, what is your Stillwater? So, Ira found that her version of Stillwater on a literal island, but you can still find yours in small moments, right? When you are sitting alone in nature, when you're turning off your phone for an hour, when you're journaling before bed. What else? When else can you find your own version of Stillwater? Anybody? Clara? Exactly. Clara said listening to music without lyrics and letting your brain wander. That is beautiful. You guys, you don't need to escape the world. You just need to reconnect with yourself, right? So, with that being said, I have some final, discussion prompts that I want you guys to think about. I want you guys to write down these questions. As I'm telling you the questions, I want you to journal them. Not only the answers, but write down the actual question. Okay? Go because I didn't make a worksheet for you guys. So I want you guys to just write down the question. Okay, you ready? Number 1. Where is your still water? Okay, so this can be a real place or a feeling or a time when you feel calm and real. Okay, so number 1. Where is your still water? Okay, again, it can be a real place or a feeling or a time when you feel calm and real. Number 2, what's something in your life that feels too loud right now? Can you turn it down even a little? So again, number 2, what's something in your life that feels too loud right now? And can you turn it down even just a little? Number 3. Now I want you guys to just write this down. Just write down the questions and then you can journal them. Or do you want me to give you time to write your answers with each one? Okay, go ahead and take a couple minutes then to write down number 2. Okay? Number 3. What part of you is growing slowly, but you haven't acknowledged it yet? Okay, so number 3. What part of you is growing slowly, but you haven't acknowledged it yet? Then that leads into number 4. Alright, are you guys ready to move on to number 4? Number 4 is, what would happen if you gave yourself permission to not know what's next? Number 4, what would happen if you gave yourself permission to not know what is next? So go ahead and write down your answer to number 4, and then we'll move on to the last question. Number 5. What would you write in a journal if you stayed on still water for a week? Number 5. What would you write in a journal if you stayed on still water for a week?